In this video we are looking at a classic Blister in the Sun by the violent Femmes. Overall a pretty easy song, but we are going to get some nice little techniques, tools to utilize on the guitar. We're kind of mixing in some things outside of just what the guitar is playing, the bass riff, and then a little bit of percussion, but most of it's going to be the guitar. You can do this on acoustic or electric. They certainly did it both ways. And we're going to get some triads, some dyads, different ways of playing chords. Always good to kind of reconcile what we're hearing versus things that might feel more familiar. So I'll go into more detail about that as we dig in here. Let's get started. So the opening riff, the main riff that we hear throughout the song, the bass player is starting that, but we can certainly do it on guitar. We're going to be on string 6 fret 3, and then string 5 fret 2 and fret 3. Those are the only 3 notes. I'm doing it with fingers 2 and 1, 3 and 2 also feel good, so whichever feels most comfortable to you there. So one thing that you can get out of this, if you haven't used it before, is a cool little trick in the left hand to get from one note to another on adjacent strings. So instead of having to hop around, if we're just starting out, that's kind of how the hand wants to move. We want to be able to get to these notes more easily. So one thing that we can incorporate is a finger roll. Right? So if I'm here on string 6 fret 3 and I need to get to string 5 fret 3, I can just let my finger, whichever one I happen to be using, kind of dip down. So I invert this knuckle. I let that dip. So I'm kind of landing, I'm not on the absolute tip of my finger here. I'm kind of, low on the center of the tip, approaching the pad. And then when I need to get over to the next string, I just let it flatten out and I'm on the pad there. Very easy little maneuver that makes it much more simple to get from one string to the other, and it's going to sound better. If things are meant to be separated, if the notes are meant to be separated, then no big deal. We're obviously going to have to be hopping from one string to another in many situations, right? But this is a good one where we can utilize this finger roll. So it's just those 3 notes, string 6 fret 3, string 5 fret 2, string 5 fret 3. So see when I'm doing that little dip, maybe my ring finger is kind of covering up my middle finger a little bit, but you can see it go down like that. Now I am walking these fingers back and forth as I go to those individual notes on string 5 and 6, just to make sure I'm not interfering. Very small movements though. Right there. Listen to that rhythm carefully. It goes from on the beat to off the beat. That's all syncopated right there. starts off on the beat, and then that's all on the upbeat. And then you can cover those strings with your left hand, very lightly touch them, and imitate what the percussion is doing, the drums. So pretty simple, but cool little maneuver there. You can get the percussion in. And picking direction, I think you can do it all down. If you feel more comfortable doing some alternating picking in there, that works as well. All right, moving on into the guitar part. So this is basically the same as the bass riff, but we're harmonizing it, playing 2 or 3 strings instead of just single notes. So any sheet music that I have found on this doesn't seem to have it transcribed the way that he plays it. And there's a lot of sounds going on there, so it can be interpreted differently. But I was going off of a video of the guitarist playing it, and I think I got it pretty much exactly like what he's doing. So let's take a look at it. It's going to be fingers 3, 2 and 1, and then 3 and 4 kind of bouncing back and forth like this in this third position shape here. What we're really going to be doing is playing a G chord there and a C chord. But we're going to do that in a very specific way. So let me just give you the chords that we're going to be playing, and then I'll play through it slowly, call out those strum directions, and you'll be able to pick up what I'm doing just by finger movement, of course, and then also using your ear. So our G chord here, or one of our G chords, is going to be string 4, fret 5, and then open string 3 and open string 2. And then I'm going to pop my index finger on string 2, fret 3, and my middle finger on string 3, fret 4 here. And then my ring finger and pinky on string 3, fret 5, and my pinky on string 2, fret 5. So that's kind of what we're doing. Okay, so nice and slow, I'm just going to play it, and then I'll do it again, calling out the strum directions here. So that last little part, I strum on strings 3 and 2, frets 4 and 3, and then I slide down to 2 and 1, and then open strings there. 5, 5, 4, 3, slide to 2 and 1, open, open. Okay, so down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, slide up. One more time. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, slide up. That's pretty much it on that riff, guys. So keep your pick loose, flexible, hang around those strings. Don't strum too big so you don't catch too many stray strings in there. And then in terms of how you move your fingers, 3 is on, and then 3 lifts, and 1 and 2 are on, and then 3 and 4 go on, but I'm going to lead those guys down, and then back to 1 and 2, and then here I'm going to lift 1 and 2 when I go back to finger 3 on, right? So place, everything's on, and now only finger 3. So every time I'm going back to that 4th string, I'm getting everything off except my ring finger. Okay, so then that basically just leaves the chorus, and then we'll talk about palm mute on the bass line. So the chorus, we have an E minor chord, a C major chord, a D major chord, and that is it. Very stock strum pattern. That is down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay? So it's going to go E minor twice, C major twice, E minor twice, C major once, D major twice. Okay, all the way through that with the pattern. I'll call it out the directions the first time and then not on the second time. So E minor, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, C, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, E minor, down, up, down, 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 up, C, down, up, down, up, D, down, up, down, up. A little bit faster. And closer to speed. So one thing that a lot of my students mention is that it feels weird to strum up. If you are at that stage where it feels awkward to strum up, couple little tips. One, main thing is relax. Don't put too much pressure on the pick. If you're putting too much pressure on the pick, you're just going to get a really coarse sound. And you're going to pop through the strings a lot, right? So that's one. Another is to tilt the pick in a direction that is going to be conducive to the way that you're strumming. So what I mean by that is if I'm going to strum down, I'm going to tilt the tip of my pick up a little bit. Unless I'm wanting to get more of a pronounced sound, but to get across the strings in kind of a flowing manner, I can tilt that pick up like that when I strum down, and then opposite when I come up, I can flip the tip down a little bit, and that's going to help that pick get across the strings, because if you're going stiff and perpendicular, you're going to get stuck. It's going to feel difficult to get past that first string in particular on the up strum, right? So just, we don't want, we don't need all of that. We don't need it to sound like a harp, but maybe in certain instances, but not here. Just practice. You want to hear one motion, one sound, but it should feel easy to get across the strings. So just a side note, it's not anything particular to this song, it's just strumming in general, something that popped into my head. And the last little bit is there's the section of the song where kind of like a little breakdown where they get really quiet and it's just whispering in the vocals and the bass is playing, I believe. So what we can do there is join the bass player, go back to our original riff that we were playing at the beginning, but put a palm mute on. Use this part of your hand, the heel of your hand, lay it on the saddle. That's the important part, right? That's where the sound stops. A lot of people, I show this and say, put it on the saddle, and they end up putting their hand over here, and all they're getting is a completely muted sound. Palm mute implies that you are getting some kind of reverberation, right? You should still be able to hear the note. It's just not going to be completely open, but it's also not going to be completely closed off. So we want that little bit of resonance, right? So it's a nice way to kind of get a different effect, and but also fit in the groove of the tune, right? Where it's much quieter. So you can do that as quiet or as loud as you want. I think they go quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter until the chorus comes back, and then bam, it's in your face. Anyways, great song, guys. Have fun with this. One thing I forgot to mention, I brought it up at the beginning of the lesson, but so, you know, all these little shapes that we're moving around here is really just a G and a C chord. So if you're singing it and you're doing it solo, or if that feels too difficult, we can make this adjustment. So it's really just G and C. You can play it really just do it with open chords there. It works. Right? So just something to play around with. We learn all these open chords initially, and they're great and they're super valuable, and there's a lot of stuff that comes from that. And it's when we learn something new like that, it's important to go, oh, this is a G chord, and listen to that sound, and oh, that's a C chord, okay. It has the same sound, right? The notes might be in a slightly different arrangement, but the same notes are there. And then you'll learn what these shapes are connected to. It's like bigger bar chords there. But just food for thought. Always nice to take some extra tidbits out of each song that you learn, and not just make it about learning the song, although that is certainly our ultimate goal, to have fun with it and be able to play it. So enjoy, guys. See you in the next lesson. Thanks a lot.